What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys for the second video of the day. And normally we don't do 2 videos a day here on the channel, but there is some massive news that we got to talk about here on today's show. Michigan has officially fired head coach Sherrone Moore with cause, by the way. We'll get into that here on today's show. But you're probably asking yourself, Chris, why are you doing a video about Sherrone Moore being fired? Well, of course, the first name out there who has been linked now to this Michigan head coaching job has been Kalen DeBoer by multiple outlets out there. So we'll talk about a couple of different ones here on today's show. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We were about to leave the office when this news broke, and we said, nope, we've got to do a video on this right now because this is massive, massive news that we've got to touch on here today. This is pretty much an instant reaction video for me right now. So if I come off a little bit emotional, that's just because I'm an Alabama fan at the end of the day, and I don't want Kalen DeBoer to go anywhere. So make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. All right, so just a little while ago, about 2 hours or so ago, now that we're filming this video, Pete Nakos announced that Michigan was officially going to be firing Sherrone Moore here, and then also put this out. This was a statement from Michigan, by the way, saying Sherrone Moore was being terminated with cause effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Sherrone Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. We'll talk about how, this is a downgrade if Kalen DeBoer were to go to Michigan because they are in absolute shambles right now. And by the way, if you love to see this Michigan program just absolutely crumble under the pressure, getting rid of multiple coaches here in the past couple of years, having the investigation for the cheating scale and everything like that, if you love seeing Michigan crumble, make sure you drop a like here on today's video as well. By the way, I don't want Kalen DeBoer to go anywhere. I want him to be the head coach here of Alabama. By the way, this is the reason we're making this video today, because right after this news broke, Pete Nakos put out his top candidates to take this Michigan head coaching job. Pete Nakos saying this on Kalen DeBoer. Currently in his second season with the Crimson Tide, Kalen DeBoer was rumored to be tied to the Penn State opening earlier this cycle. That was never going to be a factor, but DeBoer will surely be a factor in the Michigan coaching search, sources have told On 3. He has consistently won as a FBS head coach, bringing Washington to a college football playoff title game, berth, and now having Alabama in the playoffs in his second year in Tuscaloosa. He has been a popular name at Michigan when Sherrone Moore was hired, but he accepted the Alabama job before the Wolverines were in the market. Everybody at this point has been linking Kalen DeBoer to this Michigan job. Now, I've seen Nicole Auerbach out there. I've seen our guy over there for LSU. I don't even remember his name because he's such a clown, linking Kalen DeBoer to this Michigan job at this point. Now, literally everybody out there, I've seen CBS having Kalen DeBoer as the number one candidate for this Michigan job right now. Really does piss me off that we have to do this yet again here in the past, 3 weeks now. Kalen DeBoer being linked to multiple jobs here. And by the way, we'll throw back to what Kalen DeBoer said about that Penn State job here in just a second as well. But I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's video. Will Kalen DeBoer be at Alabama next season? Let me know what you guys think. Be honest with me down at the pinned comment of today's video. Now, Charlie Potter, as Alabama was getting ready for the college football, for the SEC championship game during that press conference, asked Kalen DeBoer about what he thought about his name being thrown out there linked to the Penn State job. Kalen DeBoer said, "We are extremely happy here," because that's another thing that everybody keeps wanting to throw out there. How do we know that Kalen DeBoer is happy at Alabama? He said, "We are extremely happy here. Love the challenge, love the grind, love this place. There has never been any link. There has never been any conversation. There has never been any interest either way. And so I am glad that we can put that to bed right now." Now, I will say that was to the Penn State job. It wasn't to the Michigan job. And there are rumors out there that, Pete Nakos just said it right there, that Kalen DeBoer was interested in the Michigan job before he was hired at Alabama. But at the time, there wasn't an opening at that Michigan job. I genuinely think this is ridiculous that we're having to do this, 2 times in the past 3 weeks here at this point. And I think this as well, genuinely saying this, I think the only thing Michigan has on Alabama at this point is NIL. They have money. Okay. Look, Alabama and Ohio State, in my opinion, are the top 2 jobs in college football. I don't care what Lane Kiffin's going out there, saying about LSU or whatever. I think if Kalen DeBoer were to leave Alabama, this would just, at the end of the day, be a downgrade. Do you want to win championships? Because Michigan has won 1 championship since, the 80s or something like that? All they have is money to throw around. Who the hell wants to live in Ann Arbor anyways? Everybody wants to talk about Tuscaloosa being a place that you don't want to live. How about Ann Arbor? It's freaking 9 degrees there, most of the wintertime. I think this is absolute craziness. And I do think it would be a downgrade if Kalen DeBoer did end up going there. And by the way, Alabama right now is in the midst of a college football playoff berth right now. They're going to play Oregon in 8 days at this point now, 9 days. This could not come at a worse time for Michigan, for Kalen DeBoer, for anybody surrounded in this situation right now. You just signed the number 2 recruiting class in the country. I don't even know what Michigan's recruiting class was. I think they were outside the top 10. And by the way, you're probably going to lose a lot of players in the transfer portal as well. So this is bad timing for Michigan. It's bad timing for Kalen DeBoer and everybody surrounded in these rumors right now. We'll continue with my rant here in just a second, but first, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's the holiday season right now, best time of the year for sports. You have bowl games, you have basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. While you and I are out here making decisions every single day, what gifts to buy around the holiday season, what to eat, which bowl games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. And that, my friends, is on PrizePicks. This is what we got cooked up for, I believe, this weekend's slate of games here. Going with the Army-Navy game. Quarterback for Navy, Blake Harvath, more than 227.5 passing plus rushing yards. We know Navy's going to run the ball a lot, especially with their quarterback, but they do also throw the ball a little bit as well. So I do actually like that pick there. And then also with that Washington versus Boise State game, going with Washington running back Jonah Coleman with a half touchdown, could be rushing, could be receiving on that front there. By the way, there's a new feature here on PrizePicks. They now offer early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. PrizePicks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash out today. So download the PrizePicks app and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That link, by the way, down in the comment section and the description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, this is the candidates list that On3's Pete Nakos ended up putting out, and it's really what genuinely sparked most of this conversation. It's why, at the end of the day, we're doing this video right now. Kalen DeBoer was the number 1 name on that list. You also had Lincoln Riley. You also had, disgraced head coach Brian Kelly. I'll be completely honest, I hate Brian Kelly if he went to Michigan. Michigan would end up being my most hated team in college football if that, duo ended up coming together there. Jesse Minter makes a little bit of sense there. He was the defensive coordinator for, Harbaugh when he was there at Michigan a couple years ago. There was a 1-year show cause, so because of the whole cheating scandal and recruiting stuff and everything like that happened in Michigan. So I don't know exactly, how that's going to shake out there. But in my opinion, if the 1-year show cause is up after this season, that might legitimately be the number 1 name for this new Michigan coaching job. You also have Eli Drinkwitz in the mix here, which I believe he just signed a contract extension. But at the end of the day, I guess contract extensions really don't mean anything in college football. It's just about, are they willing to pay the buyout at the end of the day? You also have Jedd Fisch. Was at Arizona, ended up taking that Washington head coaching job as soon as Kalen DeBoer ended up leaving. Washington there. So, I guess F Washington at the end of the day if Jedd Fisch ended up leaving 2 years, into his run there. You also have Clark Lea out of Vanderbilt. He's been a very, very popular name out there when it comes to a lot of these coaching searches out here. I'll be completely honest. Get him out of here. Get him out of the SEC. Clark Lea's an incredible head coach. But actually, you know what? Don't get him out of here because I don't want Michigan to get a good head coach at the end of the day. You also have Kenny Dillingham. I think that's an interesting name right there. He's a young guy. Had some success last year for Arizona State. Got them to the college football playoffs. This year, wasn't the best year for them. So I don't know. Those are the 8 names, though, that Pete Nakos of On3 did put out there for this Michigan head coaching job. And I will say this as well. As much as I just went on that rant earlier about the Penn State job, this does feel a little bit more real. I'm not going to say it's 100% real or anything like that. Like this news just came out. So kind of instantly reacting to it at this point right now. But if it is true that, Kalen DeBoer was interested in that Michigan job before he was hired as the head coach of Alabama, does make this a little bit more interesting. I also think you have to take into consideration that Courtney Morgan, the GM for Alabama, was also the GM of Michigan a couple of years ago as well. So there is that connection there as well that you have to take into consideration. But I'm going to take Kalen DeBoer at his word. Supposedly, I haven't watched it. I don't even know if it's come out yet. Kalen DeBoer's wife supposedly did a sit-down interview with Yay Alabama, Alabama's NIL collective the other day, talking about the fact that they love it here in Tuscaloosa. So I don't know. I think the Penn State rumors were just a bunch of BS. I don't know about this Michigan job, but, if it's up to me, I want Kalen DeBoer, to stay here at Alabama, whether or not they lose to Oklahoma here in the college football playoffs or not. So what is your concern level over losing Kalen DeBoer? Who would Alabama end up hiring if Kalen DeBoer ended up leaving? Let me know what you guys think. Scale it for me 1 to 10. 1, you're not concerned at all. 10, you are extremely concerned. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section of today's show. Now, I was also talking to one of the other hosts here at Chat Sports, Tom Downey. You saw him on one of our videos the other day when Alabama did make it into the college football playoffs. And he basically said, look, if Michigan came after Kalen DeBoer, wouldn't Alabama just match an offer? And I kind of got to thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I would really give Kalen DeBoer a contract extension yet. It's in year 2, and he's made it to the college football playoffs once. He has now made it to the SEC championship and lost. But I don't know if I would give Kalen DeBoer a contract extension yet. I still think he has to earn it at the end of the day. I don't want to just play this, hostage game with Michigan over Kalen DeBoer. If he wants to leave, let him leave. If it's about the money, if it's about whatever, if his desires are for somewhere else, I think you let him go. I don't think you have to match an offer right now against any other school. This is Alabama. It is a top 2 job in college football right now. Be honest with me. Do you want to be here? If you want to be here, great. I want you here. But I'm not going to get into this, bidding war over Kalen DeBoer right now, especially against Michigan, because at the end of the day, Michigan does have more money than Alabama. They would win a bidding war at the end of the day. So it's all up to Kalen DeBoer if they do end up pursuing Kalen DeBoer at the end of the day. Do you want to be at Alabama? If you do, great. We want you here as well.